Hollywood's A-list stars come together to pull off the most daring heist Las Vegas has ever known. 11 men, 3 casinos, won $50 million, one chance to pull it off. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for a heist movie that is directed by Steve Soderbergh. Soderbergh is a remake of a film from the 60s, and this film was released in 2001 and stars legendary actor George Clooney. And that film is going to be for none other than 2001's Ocean's 11. Before I get into details, let's get to the plot. Well, the plot of this movie is Danny Ocean is a thief who has just been paroled from prison. He seeks out his partner Rusty and he has a job. And it is to rob the vault that houses the cash of 3 casinos in Las Vegas. And he plans to rob it on a night when $150 million is going to be in it. So they recruit 9 guys and they begin to put Ocean's plan in motion. Everything is going well until Rusty discovers that Ocean's ex-wife Tessa's in the main squeeze of Terry Benedict, the ruthless owner of the casinos. Ruth asks him what he is going to do if he has to choose. But Ocean says that if his plan goes smoothly, then he is going to be able to have his cake and eat it. So how was the film made? Well, in 1987, an attempt to remake the 1960 film was attempted by David Permut, who had produced a film adaptation of a 1950s TV show Dragnet for the studio, but it was never commercialized. Then in January 2000, Warner Bros. Was moving forward with Steven Soderbergh on development of an Ocean's 11 remake, which would star George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Julia Roberts. Johnny Depp was even considered for Linus Caldwell, while Luke and Owen Wilson were discussions to play the Malloy twins, but the Wilson brothers had to vacate due to their commitment on the Royal Tenenbaums. Mike Myers, Bruce Willis, McGregor, Alan Arkin, and Ralph Fiennes were even considered for roles, but ended up dropping out. Filmmakers Joe and Ethan Coen were considered as replacements for the Wilson brothers, but Soderbergh cast John and Affleck instead. Mark Wahlberg was even going to be cast as Caldwell, but left in favor of starting another remake. Planet of the Apes directed by Tim Burton, which ended up completely sucking ass. So he was subsequently replaced with Damon. Clooney's commitment to Ocean's 11 forced him to turn down the lead role in Unfaithful. The pitch used in the film to black out power in Las Vegas was based on the real-life Sandia Z pitch. However, the effect shown was unrealistic, as no device of the size shown could achieve that effect. And then upon release, around November or December 2001, the film was a success at the box office and with critics. It was the 5th highest grossing film of 2001, with a worldwide gross of $450 million. Soderbergh directed the 2 sequels. Because this movie was so successful, 2 sequels got made, which would be Ocean's 12 2004 and Ocean's 13 2007, which make up the Ocean's trilogy. Ocean's 8, a spin-off with an all-female-led cast, was released in 2018. Now, when it comes to my reaction to this film and this whole trilogy, this movie is easily my favorite heist movie. It's also my favorite film from director Steven Soderbergh and my favorite role from George Clooney. Now, when it comes to the sequels, I actually like all 3 of the movies personally. I know a lot of people really shit on 12 and consider it the worst of the franchise, but while 12 is the weakest of the whole original trilogy, I still like 12 for what it is. So I like all 3 of the original films. I think they serve as a perfect trilogy, a perfect story arc for Ocean and the crew, but there's just something about this first movie that makes it so great. There's nothing truly outstanding about any aspect of the movie, nothing that will blow you away, but everything is put together perfectly. I've not seen the original Rat Pack version of the movie, so a comparison between the two is not going to be possible on my part. But yeah, I found this film pretty playful and relatively harmless. The plot twists are undeniably clever. The camaraderie between the actors is the most entertaining part of the film, in my opinion. And Elliot Gould's part had to be one of my favorites of course to pick, like fall in close order by Clooney, Pitt, and Damon. Actually, all the actors did an excellent job with their roles. There was like so much more good qualities to this movie that causes autos of repeat watching. Like, number one, even though the chemistry is pitch perfect across the board, even involving enemies, it's Clooney and Pitt that make this jump 3 levels. Their banter and understanding of each other while finishing each other's thoughts and sentences hasn't. It's pretty much the kind of chemistry you find in a film from the 1950s. Like, yeah, like they added humor, pose, and you rooted for them every step of the way. Like, even though in reality they're technically considered to be the bad guys, but this film is technically supposed to be about the antagonists in a way. So I don't really see like good guys or bad guys in this franchise. I think you pick who you side with in the trilogy, but technically there are more good guys in the third one because in the third one the person they were robbing was much worse than they are. So, but yeah, anyway, back to the review. And at number 2, the remaining cast was excellent. Each held their own, each had their own depth, not too alike. Like, Damon was great as a nervous and up-and-coming thief in Linus. Brothers Virgil and Turk were played hilariously by Count Affleck. And Jemison played the computer nerd wonderfully. And those are just 4 actors. Like, honestly, every single actor in the film was perfect in their respective roles. And I could go on about another 1,000 words on each one and not do them the justice they did for themselves. In Ocean's 11, cool colors are used throughout the entirety of the film because it helps calm the audience from them building success when the colors the actors are wearing are relaxing and soothing, and because when the surroundings are not vibrant and explosive, the mood seems to change and contradict the plot. And then, of course, however, Julia Roberts' character Tess, her clothing color choices are warm, and it reveals the importance of her character. The cool colors that the actors wore, like mostly blue and green and brown, were very soothing to the viewer. The characters had to kind of keep their cool throughout the film because they had to pull off the impossible feat, which was attempting to pour on 3 huge casinos in Las Vegas in entirely one night. And by wearing certain colors, they were able to keep the audience under control and not cause any hyperventilation from the insane, unending suspense. Like, for example, throughout the planning and the first steps of the actual Bellagio robbery attempt, the characters were faced with a few major dilemmas, and after they got the person inside the container and inside the vault, I noticed that the person had placed a briefcase on top of the container, and since his breathing time was running out, the other characters were forced to figure out how to get him out of the box. Without bumping off the briefcase, without setting off any of the alarms, with the cool color choices, the low-key lighting, keeping the scenes darker and the cool colors, the characters were able to pull it off without being forced into frantic. So yeah, it's again, the supporting cast, such as actors John Cheadle, Scott Caan, Casey Affleck, Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia and Carl Reiner. Everyone knows his or her part takes to the extent. The laughs are even packed into this film as well. The script is perfect and it knows how to space the comedy. The script could have easily been chopped and dropped at the wrong timing, character relation, or direction, but by not only introducing the audience to many different character developments and not just limiting each character to try to relate to one another with useless banter, the movie having wanted to know what was going to happen next. One negative to this is that if there was a negative I had with this film, well, yeah, okay, I'll admit that. There is one negative. And that one negative I have to this movie is that I wasn't really too fazed by the whole or bothered by the romantic or love side of the plot. I could honestly care less if Danny Ocean got his ex-wife back or not. It just seemed a bit pointless to the grand scheme of things. It didn't really take anything away from the film, but it didn't hook me as the heist did. The pacing is fast and the tone light yet exciting. The runtime can be a bit over long times, and there are a few plot holes. And I did also kind of find Julia Roberts' character Tess kind of a bit annoying, and didn't really contribute much to the plot. I mean, because she never really contributed much to the plot in this franchise. Because the only sequel she appears again is 12, and in Ocean's 12 she has such a small role. and she doesn't even come back for 13. So her role's kind of just pointless, really, and the only role she seems to contribute in the franchise is just this movie. So yeah, but other than that, really, I've got no other bad call as Ocean's 11. I think Ocean's 11 is a masterpiece of the 2000s and easily the best heist movie of all time to me. So yeah, other than what I've mentioned, Ocean's 11 is a terrific heist movie with memorable characters, memorable quotes, memorable cinematography, memorable direction, and just a very memorable concept and plot. I would strongly recommend this movie for anyone who loves the heist genre and want to see the perfect Steven Soderbergh film. Anyway, that's it for my review of Ocean's 11, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Ocean's 11, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you are a George Clooney or heist movie fan, then I would easily give this movie a watch and then buy it, add to your collection for sure. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Ocean's 11, I am going to give Ocean's 11 a 10 out of 10. There we go. That pretty much wraps up my review for Ocean's 11. I have already rewatched all the movies, so I'm going to be reviewing the other 3 movies this week. Yeah. But until pretty much, I've got nothing else to say, but until pretty much then, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.